Furthermore, the application of Section 18 of the UAP Act, it is important of the person or persons to directly or knowingly conspire or prepare to commit a terrorist activity. In the case of Natasha Narwal versus State of Delhi NCT, the recorded footage, call recordings, that is CDRs, were rejected on the reason that the same was not used for the terrorist activity, rather used for bona fide intention as a part of an organization. The effort of the state is to embroil the respondents in events in which it has nothing to do so, especially that no details of communication has been acquired and the same cannot be considered as a part of the conspiracy. As a result, Section 18 does not stand in the case. The respondents have also been charged with Section 20 of the UAP Act, but no concrete evidence has been presented by the prosecution which could establish that the activities in which the respondents were indulged in were for the purpose of terrorism or is under the command of any terrorist organization. Herein, the Council would like to refer to the case of Mrs. Nandoni Devi versus NIA, in which the Guwahati High Court held the nature of involvement of the members in a terrorist organization would matter a great deal to hold them under this section. Merely because an allegation has been made that the respondents were terrorist organization members, it would not ipso facto attract this provision. The facts and evidence so produced by the prosecution cannot establish that the respondents' agenda was to carry out a bomb blast or they were in association with any terrorist organization, even if it is assumed for the sake of the argument that the respondents were directly or indirectly connected to a terrorist organization. The provisions of Section 16, 17, 18, and 20 of this UAP Act, which discusses the punishment for terrorist act, punishment for raising funds for terrorist act, punishment for conspiracy in relation to terrorist activity, and punishment for being member of terrorist gang or organization, respectively, cannot be brought against the respondents, and so these charges are not viable. Now, the Council would like to proceed with issue 4. That
What may please
Yes, Your Lordship.
please explain what do you mean by terrorist activities and involvement in the terrorist activities? You are carrying FICNs in your bag, and you three are in connivance with each other, are going to give it to Peter. Is there any defense that Peter is not associated with any terrorist organization? Is there any defense that Suhail was not related with any terrorist organization? Or is there any defense of you that this money was to be used at which place, and that particular place will be using this FICNs only, not the genuine currency? Is there any defense?
Your Lordship, we are not defending Peter in our arguments, and we contend that the funds which were being raised by for the youth organization was only for the purpose of to help the oppressed communities due to their economic backwardness and their lack of awareness about the situation going on. And
From the facts, the bag was to be carried to Peter only, na? From the facts?
Your Lordship, mere possession of the FICN in the bag does not hold the defendants Samir Monu under these sections because they were unaware of the contents of the bag. They were unaware of the fact of the contents of the bag. They were just doing their task.
But your CDR reflects that you were in touch with Peter and you were in touch with the other person. So, and you are having the possession of this fake currency. So then this collaborates that you people were involved in some illegal activity. What is your stand on that point?
Your Ladyship, the CDR records are may signify that these defendants were in touch with each other, but just because they were in communication with each other does not prove that they were for the purpose of any terrorist activity or whether they were in association with any terrorist organization. They were in touch for the purpose of the youth organization, the All India Youth Union Conference.
The two statements. Firstly, you are saying you are not defending Peter. The second, you are saying the CDRs are there that you are associated with Peter or you are in conversation with Peter. But there is no defense that on what basis you are in conversation with Peter. Means Peter is associated with some terrorist organization that you agree, but you are saying that we are carrying the funds for some beneficial purposes, isn't it? So it is contradiction in your argument.
Your lordship, we are not stating or defending Peter, and we are not also mentioning that Peter was in relation with Lashkar-e-Taiba, the terrorist organization. We are in this present court. We are just defending Samir, Mono, and Kalu with respect to this case. We are also not mentioning anywhere that Peter was in relations with Lashkar-e-Taiba.
So you want us that we should lead only the part of your disclosure that you people are involved in a welfare thing, and the rest of the part of the disclosure we should not read. That is in a piecemeal we should read. So why should we do so?
Your ladyship, we would like to address this question later in our arguments.
Okay.
Thank you, your ladyship. The council would like to proceed with issue number 4, that the respondents are not guilty of criminal conspiracy under section 120B of IPC. It is respectfully submitted in this honorable court that the respondents are not guilty of criminal conspiracy under section 120B of IPC. As per the contentions presented by my co-counsel earlier, the respondents Samir, Monu, and Kalu did not intend to conspire to commit any terrorist activity or have the knowledge of any conspiracy to any terrorist activity of any terrorist organization. Nowhere in the contentions presented by the prosecution had it been established with concrete evidence submitted that the respondents were carrying out or preparing to carry out an unlawful act. Before bringing on record anything said, done, or written by an alleged conspirator, the court has to bring on record some evidences which prima facie proves the existence of conspiracy. The case of Gulab Singh versus Emperor, it has been observed that it is necessary in prosecution for conspiracy to prove that there were two or more persons agreeing for the purpose of conspiracy, and there could not be a conspiracy of one. The The council seeks permission for extension of time for 5 minutes. Much obliged, Your Lordship and Leadership. In the case of LK Dwani versus CBI, Delhi High Court held that there is no evidence on record except the alleged entries in the diaries and no loose sheets to prove the claim of conspiracy, and also there is no evidence to show that the entries were made in reference to common intention of the conspirators after it was entertained. It has to be kept in mind that the standard of proof of the act of criminal conspiracy is beyond reasonable doubt. The council would like to refer to the case of State Entity of Delhi versus Navjot Sandhu, in which it was said that a few bits here and a few bits there on which the prosecution relies cannot be held to be adequate for connecting the accused in the offense of criminal conspiracy. For punishment of criminal conspiracy to come into play, it is also important the very plot of doing the illegal act has to take place in order to incriminate the wrongdoers of criminal conspiracy. It was decided in Subramaniam Swamy versus A. Raja that suspicion cannot take the place of legal proof, and existence of a meeting between the accused person is not by itself sufficient to infer the existence of criminal conspiracy. Criminal conspiracy is an inadequate or inchoate crime that requires the inclusion of a substantial offense to make it a criminal crime punishable under Section 120B of IPC. In the state of Andhra Pradesh versus Subhaya, the Honorable Supreme Court contended that where the matter has gone beyond the stage of mere conspiracy and offences are alleged to have been committed in pursuance thereof, the accused can be charged with the specific offences alleged to have flown out of the conspiracy along with the charge of conspiracy. The police and the investigating agencies wanting to make someone an accused in spite of a case having no concrete evidence use this age-old formula of invocation of section 120B of IPC and bring all named in the charge sheet under its umbrella. There have been numerous instances of such invocation of section 120B, like in the Indira Gandhi murder case where Balbir Singh was convicted by the trial court. His conviction was upheld by the High Court, but he was ultimately acquitted by the Supreme Court. In the Parliament House attack case, the trial court convicted all the accused, but the High Court acquitted Sir Gilani and Afsan Guru. The Supreme Court ultimately upheld the judgment of High Court for these two persons. The knowledge or mens rea with respect to high-quality counterfeit FICN was absent, as well as the acts associated with the project of All India Conference of Youth Union do not amount to any intention of waging war. It is also to be reiterated on the fact that none of the evidences of the prosecution prove that the respondents are planning to commit any terrorist activity like bomb blast. Hence, it is not justified to charge the respondents under Section 120B of IPC. The council seeks permission to proceed with the prayer. Much obliged. In the light of the issues raised, arguments advanced, and authorities cited, the counsel for the respondents humbly prays that the Honourable Court be pleased to quash the petition and hold all the respondents not guilty under Sections 489B, 489C, 120B, 121, 123, and 201 of the IPC, and Section 16, 17, 18, and 20 of the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, and pass any order that this honourable court may deem fit in the interest of equity, justice, and good conscience. And for this act of kindness, the counsel for respondents shall be duty bound forever to pray.
Means for you, what are the ingredients to punish an accused under Section 120B, and how it is not related with your case? Because see, I just want to address both the parties, that we are in agreement of whatever the judgments are there of Honorable Supreme Court or Honorable High Court. We are not disputing that. How these cases are related to your case, that you have to illustrate in each and every argument. So please be confined to that every case is guided by its own facts and circumstances. Whether your case is also similar to that, or your circumstances are similar to that, that you have to say before this honorable court. Nothing more than that. All the judgments are previous judgments, and we are in agreement with that. So kindly say how in your case 120B is not applicable. Only this line, only this answer.
Your Lordship, the most important ingredient for a criminal conspiracy to be charged against a person is that there should be an intention to commit such crime, or the knowledge to commit some crime, which totally lacks among our defendants.
Means you were in counterfeit currency, you were in contact with Peter, and you are supposed to deliver this currencies to Jammu and Kashmir for some youth purposes. You are saying so, and there is no evidence in this regard, isn't it?
Your
And
Lordship,
you are not defending Peter. You are not saying anything about Peter. You are not saying anything about Sohail, but you are connected with that. On your disclosure, police goes to Sohail's place. On your disclosure, police recovers CDRs, and the connection are very much evident there. FSL says that FICNs are there. So how come you will be saying that you are not in criminal conspiracy with each other?
Your Lordship, Peter, who was apparently poisoned, had died, and there is no evidence in furtherance to his intention or knowledge. Talking about the intention of other defendants, in the charge sheet itself, I would like to state that they have themselves said that there was no concrete evidence, no substantial evidence to corroborate along with their whatever they are contending.
Okay. And it is concluded in charge sheet
Yes,
that there is no
Your Lordship.
corroboration.
Yes, Your Lordship. It has been written. I would, if the Lordship wants, we would like to refer to the particular paragraph. I would
Yeah,
ask my
please,
researcher to
please, please,
point it
please,
out.
please. If there is any, then they must be discharged. Why these arguments are there?
Your Lordship, we would like to take a minute to
Yeah,
address
please,
this.
please show the para and conclude.
Indeed, Your Lordship.
Your Lordship, meanwhile, my co-counsel is dealing with that issue. I just want to seek permission for to provide the details for the points that were raised by your ladyship about the extrajudicial confessions. Your Lordship, they are not admissible as according to Section 26 of the Indian Evidence Act. I just quote the provision. Confession by the accused while in custody of police not to be proved against him. No confession made by any person which he is in custody of the police officer unless it is made in the immediate presence of the magistrate shall be proved as against such person. So here no extrajudicial confessions come into place.
So you mean to say that whenever this extrajudicial confession is not admissible at all in law, whenever an extrajudicial confession is made, and in all the instances, it is not admissible.
No, Your Lordship, I'm just talking about the in this case, in the criminal case in which the accused is already in the police custody. In that case, extrajudicial confession is of no use, and even if it is, then there should be a evidence that will prove that their confession said or said by any other person is true by the accused. There should be any evidence to show the court that that whatever they have said, it is true and it should be admissible.
And one thing more I want to ask, did you people enter into witness box and have you recorded any statement before the court?
No, Your Lordship, there is no nothing is given by the organizer like that. They have just recorded the testimony of the defendants under Section 161 of the CRPC.
So who is defendant? DW1 and DW2, who are those?
Sameer, Monu, and Kalu Mama, respectively.
The statement, I think if you can, because organizers have provided us also.
Yes, Your
I
Lordship.
just want to know whether this statement, which refers to DW1 and DW2, are you having that?
Yes, Your Lordship.
So whose statement is this? And is this statement before the court or before the
No, Your Lordship, this is
police?
before the police, according to Section 161 of the CRPC. It is the examination of the witness by the police.
This under 161. Okay.
Yes, Your Lordship. So nowhere have they have gone for the judicial confession. Your Lordship, one more point. You mentioned about the CDRs and phone data. It all was for the task that they were given. That's why they were contacting each other. They were not contacting for the criminal conspiracy or nothing. They were just doing for the oppressed class for which they were given the task. And to complete that particular task that was bona fide, they were just doing all this. And Your Lordship, it is clearly mentioned in 17.3.3 of the charge sheet, in which they are just.
Sorry, I requested the judges to kindly stop because we have 7
Okay, sure.
It was lovely, and you people have done very nice job, and I'm really impressed with you people. All the best to all of you.
Thank you, Lordship.
Your
Thank you,
Lordship,
Leadership.
may I proceed with rebuttal arguments?
Yes, please.
Thank you, Your Lordship. The respondents just now contended that
For 1
the
minute
non-
only, please.
Okay. Thank you, Lordship. The respondents contended that knowledge is different from intention and the accused have no intention. But I disagree with this point that because if the accused goes on further with doing such act even after having knowledge about it, it would mean that they are also a part of the conspiracy. Cooperation for such an offense shows the intention of them that they are also intending to commit crime. Hence, it's enough to contend that the accused has intention, Your Lordship. And I would like to bring attention to one legal maxim that before just now the defense counsel has said that mere possession of FICNs cannot be considered. It means that the legal maxim ignorantia juris non excusat is void. And again, the defense is trying to frame baseless arguments by claiming that the accused are working for the youth organization, even though they admitted their involvement in the whole conspiracy in their testimony. Respondents here itself admitted in their memorial page numbers 12 and 27 that they are getting constant special aid and assistance from the enemy countries, that is Pakistan and Bangladesh, and they are also getting funds from them. And in page number 31 of the defendant's memorial, there is a case, Arup Bhayam versus State of Assam. In that case, it was held that the inciting the people to violence, which make a person a criminal. Then the prosecution wants to know that wants to question the defense that what shall we call the persons involved in attacking the sovereignty of the nation by doing terrorist activities. And also and the defendants also contended that the suspicion cannot be considered as a proof. I disagree with it, because though suspicion is not a proof, state has right to investigate with the matter in the view of the national security. I would like to mention another thing, that the format of the statement of jurisdiction is not quite clearly mentioned in the defendant's memorial. They did not mention the name of the court, and along with how they got local standing as well. Thank you.
It was very nice talking to you people, and you are good. Your preparation is very good. Your presentation was very good. So we are very impressed by your preparation, and we wish you all the best. And just to remind 2-3 things, that in preparing your memorial, please correlate every judgment with your facts, whatever your defense is, or your prosecution statements are. And the other part, it should be very clear to say that on these points, this particular judgment is applicable, and in my case, this judgment is applicable in this way. So just be precise for that. Otherwise, you people have done a good job, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Lord.
Your Lordship,
Your
we have
Lordship.
reserved the times for sir rebuttals also. Can we proceed with the...
Please, if you wish so, if time allows.
Just 1 minute, I'll just wrap up in this 1 minute. Yes, Your Lordship. First thing, that the counsel for prosecution have said that that the defendant had admitted in the before the police. So I just want to tell them that it is not admissible under Section 25 of the Evidence Act. Any confession or admission before the police is not admissible. Second point, Your Lordship, if they are saying that they had the knowledge or anything, we have already argued on this topic in our argument. And the second thing, if they are proving, if they are showing, then they have to prove with the evidence. They can't just in the air just say that they are involved. The defendants are involved in the argument, in the conspiracy or in the counterfeit currency or anything. They have to prove everything with the evidence only. They can't keep their points just in the air that they think, yeah, they assume, they want. They have to bring some legal evidence to the honorable court so that they can prove their contention over the defendant. That's all, Your Lordship. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very nice, very nicely done, and I'm really impressed. And you people are all just like a seasoned lawyer. Very nice.
Thank you, Your Leadership.
So, I'm still in my middle request and yeah, and all the participate.
Thank you, Your Lordship.
Thanks.
Thank you, Lord. So इसको रोक के रखना. Then क्यों करो? राकेश को फोन करो.